As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Play a full 60 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it simple.
Get pucks deep, bring the puck deep.
Put pucks in deep.
We got to keep it simple and just get pucks going forward.
Getting into the forecheck.
We got to keep playing aggressive.
Trying to take away their time and space.
We're focused on tonight. We just got to stick to our game.
It's my pleasure to welcome a guy who I ran into years ago in the ECAC and now is on his way to the pro ranks and currently playing in Toledo. Has also been a star in the AHL as well, and was the captain of the Harvard Crimson, who downed my Golden Knights to go on and win the ECAC championship. Casey Dornbach. Casey, what's happening?
Hey, good to see you. Good to see you again, Casey. Thanks for having me on.
We're going to have to battle here to keep the names straight. Two Caseys on one call here, but try to walk through your career here in a highlight early so far and plenty of years to come, I'm sure. It started back in Minnesota and the unique experience of playing Minnesota high school, which is such a famed spot to play, especially in North America and United States hockey. Talk about what getting your start there was like and, the experience of playing high school hockey in Minnesota.
Yeah, playing for Edina was definitely one of the biggest highlights of my career. And being a kid growing up in Edina, playing for the high school team was something you always dreamed about and looked up to those guys. My dad played for Edina, was able to coach me a little bit growing up. And obviously being in Minnesota, you're pretty much grabbing a stick when you're 2 or 3 years old. And that's what happened to me and stayed with Edina all the way through high school. Before juniors, we had some really good teams, some really good players come through. It wasn't until my junior year that I lost the last game of the season. That says a lot about the kind of teams we had during those years. So that was 2 Squirts, 2 Pee Wee A state championships, 2 Bantam A state championships, and then a sophomore year, 2014, won a state championship high school level. And then we ended up losing junior and senior year, but we still had some really good players at that point. So it was a really special time, a really fun time, and there was a lot of great coaches that come back, and my parents still live in Edina, so a lot of great memories there, and getting my roots on the hockey side and all that there.
For your time in the pros now here in just your second pro season, you've been a captain at every level. Edina was the first place that you captained there your senior year. What leadership habits growing up, who were some guys that you learned from the most on your way to being the captain at Harvard as well?
Yeah, I've had some great mentors over the course of my life and career. Early, looking up to my dad and looking up to, like I said, some high school guys that were there. Anders Lee was one. He grew up watching, playing for the high school team, and as got older, just started meeting a lot of great people. There was a lot of NHL players that came back and were coaches of different teams. I think as I got older, just tried to take a little bit of a piece from everyone and make it my own, and being named captain was a huge honor at the couple different levels. But I think for me, being a captain isn't something I was striving for. Just I think because of my work ethic and who I was off the ice, having a genuine interest in being a friend, and being someone who wants to go to the rink and get better every day. I always try to this day too, just to lead by example. And I'm not a super vocal guy, but when you're a C, you have to learn how to also use your voice and use your platform. So it was a good experience in that way for me too. But I try to just keep it simple and was able to learn from a lot of really great people, like my dad, like Anders Lee, and there's many others I could list. And obviously growing up watching guys in the NHL too, like Sidney Crosby was a guy I always looked at. Um, so I think that yeah, that list was too long. I'm blanking on a couple of them now, but there was a lot.
On your way to Harvard, you spent a little time in the USHL playing with Lincoln. Everyone's got to make the decision where they want to go, and now it's become a much different landscape with the new CHL ruling. But at the time you were looking at NCAA schools, you had to make the decision between the CHL or playing in the USHL as you did. Was college always somewhere that you found yourself looking to go? And then what led you to committing at Harvard there after your time in Lincoln?
Yeah, good question. For me, I was a really late bloomer and wasn't sure if I was gonna uh, get a college scholarship by the time high school ended. So I always had a plan to go to juniors and go to college. That was always something I wanted to do. My dad played at Miami of Ohio, and always looked up to watching the Gophers. And I always really wanted to go to Harvard. A close friend and advisor had gone there, and just I think growing up in high school hockey too, it's something that's very common. So I never gave too much thought into going to the CHL. And once I was drafted by Lincoln in the USHL, after my sophomore season in high school, um, it kind of got things rolling of thinking ahead, trying to make that team. And um, in that draft in particular, I was actually like 21st round, 300 something overall in the phase two. So all my buddies got picked the year before, and had to really, which was a theme of my career to this point, is always just believe in myself, um, even when things like that happen or didn't get picked right away, um, because schools like Harvard weren't interested at the time. Lincoln probably didn't think I was going to make the team, being that late of a pick. They got first round and futures picks of the phase one. But it gave me enough of that spark to think, okay, I could play in the USHL, and just kept working, kept believing in myself, and then was able to make the team after Edina. And I was actually committed to Omaha that year, and it just it was there was a coaching change and some things that happened, and Harvard was a school that I always really wanted to go to, and fortunate enough they had some room for me that second year in Lincoln, when I was able to commit there. But that was a dream because when I was younger, again, I was a late bloomer, a lot smaller, didn't grow till what I am now, 5'11" ish, 6 feet on a good day, till really late, till a little bit in juniors in college. So that was huge, and a really special time. And yeah, I think that answers that one well.
You guys had a lot of success over your time at Harvard, and right from your freshman year, going to the NCAA tournament, even though you weren't champions of the ECAC yet at that time. But from an early group, you guys were one of the most loaded teams in the ECAC in terms of draft picks, and a lot of your teammates have gone on to be currently shining in the NHL right now. That first year, when you make it to the NCAAs, even though you lost in the first round to UMass, what were the biggest learning experiences that you took away from that group en route to what you guys ended up accomplishing?
Yeah, that year was tough year losing to UMass, but they had Cale Makar, and I had to tip our hats to that. Um, and we had Adam Fox. It just wasn't our night, and we had a lot of great players on that team who were younger that were back the next year. John Marino left after that year, but up and coming, we had guys like Jack Drury, Jack Rathbone, Marshall Rafai, a lot of great players. So coming back those next few years, I think just the maturity after losing, seeing what's out there, seeing how good we need to be if we want to have success in those tournaments later in the year, motivated us all, and we were all pretty similar minded, in the sense we had a really good group and a really close group, which really helped. So we were all pushing each other, getting extra reps before practice, on the ice, making sure we're accountable in our workouts, taking care of each other off the rink too, and having a lot of fun in that sense, and using that to take the chemistry on the ice. And I think just as we went through the years, we just kept bringing in really quality people who had similar mindsets, who wanted to get better, wanted to go to the next level, wanted to go pro, and not just focus on school. A lot of guys there, even at an Ivy League or at Harvard, you think, oh, some of the guys want to just go there for school. No, we had a lot of really good players that really like hockey was also the priority. You have a lot of guys who are able to manage academics and athletics and in that sense, but everyone there was fully committed both ways, and I think that just allowed us to keep growing. So when we brought in when I got to meet you, guys like Coronado, John Farrell, Abrazizi, Henry Thrun, a lot of guys who are still playing at high levels. Jack LaFerriere, Alex LaFerriere. We so many guys who just kind of brought the program up as we were going, and that leads us into, I'm sure, what we're going to talk about next with Lake Placid.
So funny enough, the first game I think I ever broadcast was Harvard at Clarkson in that 2019-20 year. That was my freshman year. And then the first non-Clarkson interview, because we always did bench interviews at the home games, and then doing the ECAC championship, was the first period of that tournament where you guys went on to win it all and got to interview the captain, who was Casey Dornbach. You go every year without losing before the NCAA tournament. You made it to the tournament your freshman year. The next 2 years, the season gets canceled. You had no season in 2020-21. 2019-20, you guys were en route to go to Lake Placid before that tournament got canceled. Before we get to the ECACs, how tough were those years, especially being one of the teams in the ECAC with the Ivy Leagues not being allowed to play there? And how was that group able to build throughout that season without any play to go on to achieve what you guys did in the following season?
Yeah, most people don't know that we spent January through March in Tampa, Florida, with the Minnesota born and raised trainer Brett Strott at Saddlebrook Golf Resort, staying there and training at the sports facility down there with a gym, couple sheets of ice, and we were able to do school online during that year that we didn't play, and keep training. And half the team was back in the USHL, playing themselves. So the guys that were there, we had a really good group to keep guys accountable, and I think that it all starts internally. A lot of guys that, whether there was a season or not, we had goals of playing professionally, and so we just did what we could, and we got it done as far as getting our training in and playing whenever possible. And it was really tough though, that COVID year. 18 months was the total without a game, and that's pretty rare, especially because it was just the Ivy League. So you can't play the victim of that though. You have to say, hey, how does this serve me? And you gotta have the right mindset. When that happened, we went through some of the normal emotions, and we we're all frustrated, and everyone in the world was uncertain at the time. So, looking back, it is crazy how it ended up happening that way. But in the moment, I just remember feeling, very uncertain, because we get news late that we weren't going to have that season. We thought we might up until August, September. And then from there, just started making plans of how we could just keep growing. And we did come out of that stronger, even though not playing. Guys were hungry. I think that's something that came from that. You take for granted the times. You're grateful for even the downs of a season. If growing up, haven't had a season off ever. So you take for granted sometimes the ups and downs and the learning of it. And, um, for me now, I'll never forget that. So, um, grateful it happened, and glad we had a great team to come back to um, my last year there at Harvard. And, but a lot of special memories from that time being in Tampa, training, go golf, go to the beach, and do online school. And, and with our, some of our closest buddies, we'll remember those times forever. But after that, once everyone started coming home around April, May, when season started to be over, more guys are coming in to train, and then we have all summer to gear up for the next season. So that really helped, as well as all the guys coming in who had really great seasons in the USHL. Matt Coronado, Sean Farrell, uh, again, Alex LaFerriere, guys that had really good USHL seasons coming in. I think allowed us to have a really good team that next year.
That year, you guys were one of the most packed draft classes in ECAC history. I think it was the game against Clarkson, who had 11 draft picks, and you guys had 14, 25 total, was top 5 all time. And that was the matchup in the semifinals. Clarkson had back-to-back goals to take a 3-2 lead before you guys came roaring back and won in the third period there. Then you go on, you win the championship, lift the ECAC trophy, the overtime game winner. And going into that week, you were somewhat of underdogs. A lot of the media had pretty much already written off that Quinnipiac, who was ranked 5th in the country, was going to win it all, and they were going to walk their way into the NCAAs. Well, that's not how it happened. And again, in comeback fashion, you top them in overtime. Walk me through all the emotions of that week and some of your favorite stories that you remember from there.
Well, we had I had the interview with you, and then that was it. We got it going after that. That's what got us going. No, looking back, it's a couple of years now. Yeah, it was a crazy 2 games, and really cool playing at Lake Placid. It's a special spot. Obviously, a ton of history with USA Hockey there. So we got to live that, go through the Hall of Fame there, and just remember going into those games. As you have to be, you can't be comparing yourself to your opponents and listening to all the noise of who's going to win this or that. You got to believe in yourself first. You got to stay true to your process, and that's what we did. And we went in there not caring who we played. And I remember that first game against Clarkson was an amazing game. I think we scored late, really late in the game to get the lead, and came back, and then get an empty netter, and then going into the championship, playing Quinnipiac. That was an amazing game, a tight game. Not much scoring, and a nail biter heading into overtime, and a great goal, great play by Matt Coronado to seal that off. That was a really special time, and big thing for the team and for the program to get back on top at Lake Placid. And unfortunately, we ran into a really good team after that in the NCAAs in Mankato that year, who ended up making this a championship with Denver. But we had confidence, and we were playing well, and we did the best we could. Just fell a little short in that game, but not looking too far ahead where we were at Lake Placid there. Yeah, it was pretty special, and yeah, funny timing. You said that was your first interview, getting going in the first period. That's funny. Casey. Crazy how that works.
You decided to make the decision for your 5th year to go on and play at Denver. Rather than staying around the ECAC, you go to one of the biggest powerhouses, and then that transitions into your professional career. How difficult was it to make that decision where you're looking at continuing your career and continuing your college education, but then you got to go so far away from where you had just been playing the last 4 years?
Yeah, it was an interesting time because you also had the opportunity to go pro at that time, so there was a lot up in the air. Just felt that going into pro as ready as possible would suit me better, and had the opportunity to play uh, at such an amazing school and program as Denver was a no-brainer, and really grateful I had that experience before coming to pro. Um, Getting to see their process, getting to see um, a lot of other really great players playing with them that led me to want to go to Denver for one more year. They had just won and knew they're going to have a good team coming back and good competition to develop and get better, and just felt like it was another step. Harvard was amazing. Most people don't know that you can't do a fifth year at Harvard, so it wasn't a decision between Harvard or Denver. It was a decision between pro and Denver, and you have to get into grad school at Harvard if you're going to do that. So they don't, you can't get into the business school or the med school right after. Would be pretty incredible. I don't think it's ever been done by a hockey player. And obviously, it's a different situation with COVID that you had that extra year. So, I'm not sure how many other guys have been able to do that and wanted to take advantage of that, going to a different program before pro, and that was a great year. We unfortunately fell short at the end to a really hot Cornell team, actually, funny enough, playing an Ivy CAC team in that year in the NCAAs. But yeah, again, it was a great experience, and the decision for me, a lot of factors. And once I got to visit and see the staff and meet the guys and just see what they're building there and the track record of developing, pro and NHL guys was really enticing for me to want to get one more year before going to pro, and really grateful I had that.
You signed right into the AHL with the Iowa Wild. Had a breakout season last year as well, 42 points in the ECHL with Iowa as well. This year you've moved on, now playing with the Toledo Walleye. Over 2 years and a couple of games coming out of Denver. What have been the biggest transitions you've had to make in your game? What are the biggest things that you've had to learn as you're now developing as a professional in hockey?
Yeah, I think pro hockey is very different. You play a lot more games, and it forces you to mature quickly in your process. And it weeds out the guys that aren't serious about going through the ups and downs during a long season. College, you have a lot more time to give yourself a break during the week to rebound and recover. You really got to put more attention into taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, and it's a different deal doing it for you're getting paid now. It's your job, and there's a lot of growth opportunities in that. Learning how to be more consistent, and something that's really helped me is that side of it, taking care of myself off the ice. My wife, really fortunate to have her with me, can help me eat right. But sometimes there's a lot of things that you can't control. In pro, you're getting on the road a lot more, and not everything is perfect, not everything's the same. But one thing that can be consistent is your mindset and your belief in yourself. And pro hockey it's a business. There's a lot going on. It's very different in that sense, and you got to just stay focused on being your best every night, doing what you can control to get yourself prepared every day to recover after. The guys that don't learn those lessons, that aren't as serious about the recovery side and taking care of themselves, can burn out quicker, and the business side of it, you can't think too much about it. You got to just go play. And I'm fortunate to be able to start off with some great organizations, and I'm feeling great. Feeling got a lot better since entering pro already. Learned a lot. Been able to round out my game a little bit, which is something that is huge at this level. And there's a lot of really good players that had all the opportunity and had a ton of points, et cetera, in college. So there's a lot more guys. It just, as you go up the ladder, it just gets narrower and narrower at the top, what separates the best. And you see a lot of different guys playing different roles. And I think something that's helped me is through my college experience playing on a couple different teams, was in a couple different roles, playing different positions, power play, penalty kill, wing, center, depending on the line, what the team needs that night. Um, so if you're a guy that did get opportunity to produce in college, um, remembering that, staying true to yourself, owning that, but also, if you're put in a different role, which have been at some certain times in pro, can you also do a job that the team needs to win and do that well, play responsible so you can earn more ice time on the power play and other roles. It's very different. A lot of things happening, guys getting hurt, guys getting called up, sent down. So some of it you can't focus on all the chaos sometimes. You just got to focus on, okay, what's the team need for me tonight? Who am I? How can I bring my best today in my preparation and then recovery to get ready for the next game? And at this point in my life, how can I enjoy what I'm doing too? I genuinely love the ups and downs and all of it together, getting an opportunity to get better every day. I still have high hopes and aspirations to keep moving up, keep getting better. And there's a lot of guys that at this point, coming out of Harvard or coming out of different schools, you have your education, you do have that option to do that and be done. But for someone like me who I don't see that happening anytime soon, it's a good reminder that to be grateful for that you have your health, that you get to be playing this game because someday it is going to end. And you see that happening more at the pro level, guys retiring, guys doing different things. So it's been a really great experience. I'm really excited to keep growing and keep learning. And on that theme of just being versatile and being able to play different roles. I think being able to play at Harvard and Denver for some great staffs and with some great players prepare me to kind of be ready for anything and just embrace what different teams or different roles are needed for me at the time, but also remembering who you are at all times, because things change fast. Could be on different teams, could be in different leagues, and you got to stay true to your game and find an identity for yourself.
It'll be easy for our fans to understand why you made it to the captain rank and are likely headed that way someday in the pros here. Casey, a guy I've always looked up to since we met each other, and full circle here is now we continue to watch you progress through the pros. Looking forward to watching your upcoming success here this season in Toledo. And as far as it makes you, I'll continue to try to chase you here as we both make our way up the ladder here. Casey, thanks so much for hopping on here. And for those out, he's got a couple games coming up in Toledo this weekend, and keep an eye on the Walleye, who are always a threat in the ECHL.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks for having me on. It's a lot of fun to reconnect. And thanks for always having my back and the support back in the day too. Back at we were playing against you at Clarkson. It's been fun. Thanks for having me on and stay well.